Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube Dragon Ball Daima review. Today, we are talking about episode 2, and I forget the title. That's do you have the title on you by chance or no?
What was
GLORIO.
it? GLORIO.
Glory Hole. I mean, GLORIO. Um,
One of us was going to go there
oh, yeah,
eventually.
absolutely. First off, I'd just like to say thank you so much for the response to last week's video. It was a good response. Thank you so much. If you like Dragon Ball content, as me and Mage are always willing to talk about Dragon Ball. The other thing, just really quick before we get started, I'm going to say is that I'm going to be putting a poll on the community tab. So if you want us to do live reviews where we can interact with the chat and everything like that, we'll probably still do them. I'm assuming every Saturday. It kind of works out conveniently for me and Mage. And so if there's interest there, I'll put the poll in the community tab. Just vote yes. If you're not interested, vote no, please. Please just vote because we want to gauge interest. All right, so episode 2, here we go. We are now officially in Dragon Ball Babies. Yeah, right. Overall thoughts, Mage, I'm going to defer to you.
I enjoyed it. The humor was on point. I felt like I laughed out loud at several instances. Just my one gripe is I feel like with as much backstory, recap is a better word, as much recap as episode 1 had, maybe this and episode 1 could have been all in one episode. But then you run the risk of it being rushed.
Yeah, I was about to say I agree with you. I feel like they spent all their extra time last week on the first episode because it was a 32-minute episode or 33-minute episode or something like that. And they spent all that extra 10 minutes recapping the Buu saga, like within story. Like they didn't just sit there and narrate. They were like, we were being introduced to the new characters of the demon realm while they were kind of going back and looking over the Buu saga. So I think they did it okay, but it was still just a recap that they could have gotten out of the way in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe at max. This week though, okay, so I'm on the fence. Not saying bad nor good. I just feel like this is going to be another thing where it's like Toriyama saw an idea that Dragon Ball GT did, or not another idea, but like like he did with Broly. He saw Broly. He's like, I'm going to make that better, and he does. I definitely believe that this is off to a better start than GT for sure, and I know that a lot of people are going to complain about me comparing it to GT, but a lot of it is the same premise. Like, except this time everybody's shrunken rather than just Goku, which I think is a better idea than just shrinking Goku just for the sake of shrinking Goku. They're going on a new adventure to a new place, whereas in GT they went off world and went out into the universe to new adventures where we meet a bunch of new characters. Like, and then the players are a bit different. Right now we have GLORIO, Goku, and Supreme, Shin that are going, and then Goku, or no, then Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma will probably join later, because obviously they have the second ship that's going to be able to take them. But yeah, this episode in general, I thought it was actually pretty good, pretty well paced. They're giving us lots of lore, which I'm actually okay with. I really like them diving into the lore, and I do want them to take their time. I don't want them to rush giving us the lore of Dragon Ball, but then I don't also want them to over-explain it to us. I want to kind of see it as well as explain to us. So I'm hoping this is the end of the lore dump. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we need to get into shenanigans starting next week.
Part of the charm of Dragon Ball has always been that there's a little bit of mystery to the world, that not everything's fully explained. It's just kind of there for you to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first theme song was even called Mystical Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a sense of mysticism and magic and wonder to the series. And I feel like this one's capturing that spirit.
Yep. So, so just kind of running through the basics of the episode really quick. So we're at the party. Everybody's turned into kids. Vegeta and Goku crash land, and we get the Krillster kind of introducing us to the shenanigans that are afoot. I literally laughed out loud and about pissed myself when with Krillin. I love it when they use Krillin as like that like big reaction person, like like Goku's like, oh, and like Vegeta's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. But it's like Krillin's always the one that's just like, if you need a good reaction out of somebody in the Dragon Ball universe, you go to Krillin, because Krillin, for some reason, and his voice actor, especially in Japanese, can just really knock that comedy like reaction out of the park.
Agree wholeheartedly. And I that scene made me cackle so much, just that reaction out of Krill's Meister.
Oh yeah, gotta love the Krillmeister. So anything else from the party? I mean, yeah, they all figure out they're small, the shenanigans there. We kind of figured that was going to happen. Nobody noticed Krillin was, shorter because, he's he's already short.
Even had that dig at him already before they shrank. That was good stuff.
So, the next part we go back, we have the intro. We have the intro this week. We didn't have the intro last week. And we go, anything about the intro? Like, I mean, it's a nice little intro, but I don't think it's anything special. It's not like the Tournament of Power intro. Holy crap, I love that intro.
No, it's No Limit Break Survivor. It's
no, I meant like the intro for Daima.
Yeah.
Oh, did they do this one too?
No, the Limit Break Survivor was the name of the song for that Tournament of Power intro.
Yeah. That one, yeah. That's why I said, like, I don't think anything can really beat that one for me. That one was really great, but
no, it's not even. This intro song isn't even up there with Dan from GT.
Yeah.
But
speaking of shenanigans.
Sorry, folks.
That's okay. Yeah, it kind of gave me like the original Dragon Ball Super intro kind of vibes. Like it not hard rock, more mystic adventure. So okay. So next we're back at the lookout. We've got Dende, who is now a baby again. We've got Popo, who is a kid. And obviously our villains, Goma. I tried to remember the frickin' Shin's name, and I still cannot remember it. And then the elder Namekian from the Demon Realm. I love how it's like they find out that they can't make a second and third wish because he's like, it's a bonus for regulars. I'm like, when did there become a, like, I get it. I'm like, it's a retcon, but I'm like, it doesn't hurt anything. But I'm just like, why? Like, we know Toriyama, it was a discovery writer. And, like, so he would just kind of make things up on the fly. That's the problem with Toriyama doing prequels, is like, if it doesn't add up, it might be a plot hole. And again, I don't think it breaks anything, but it's kind of like, really, like, that's what we're doing here. We're just going to say, oh, I think GT had the right idea when they were like, yeah, you guys abuse the Dragon Balls and now you're going to pay for it. Whereas now Shenron's like, yeah, I just use this for regulars. Like, oh, that's a bonus for regulars. I'm like, I think it would have been nice if, like, after they shrunk Dende down, this was my idea. After they shrunk Dende down, the dragon's power was also significantly diminished. And so he could only grant one wish. So they should have granted the baby wish third. But because they did the baby wish first, it diminished the dragon's power because Dende is now a baby.
That would make a whole lot more sense and would really fit better in a serious series.
Yes, I did chuckle at it, but then I rolled my eyes really hard. That's why I'm like, again, it's Toriyama's style of writing. Like, this is very Toriyama. I would not be surprised if this was something he wanted to put in there.
Oh yeah, it reeks of him. It's great. It's tongue in cheek, just so tongue in cheek.
So they kidnap Dende because they don't. I don't understand this. Like, so if Dende goes off world, they can't use the Dragon Balls. Is that what they're insinuating? because they took Dende and then they say that they can't use the balls again because Dende's kidnapped, right? Like that's the impression I got. You watched it. You just watched it before, so maybe you caught something better than I did. But
the
I watched
elder
it yesterday.
Namekian said that he couldn't do that ritual again right off the bat, so that's why they couldn't really use the Dragon Balls and get the MacGuffin that they're wanting.
Yeah, but I swear later on in the episode, Piccolo said something about like not being able to use the Dragon Balls because Dende was gone, right? Am I? Yeah, okay, so I'm actually looking at it right now. It says, without this one, the Dragon Balls of this world will be useless, right?
Oh,
and then and that's why they kidnap him.
That's why they took him hostage. Okay.
And then what's his nuts? The Elder Namekian says pretty much. So like if they take or as I said, maybe because they shrank him down, the Dragon Balls aren't working anymore, but I don't think they clearly explain that, and that's kind of where I was like, why didn't the dragon just say, since my creator has been fully like diminished as a child, I can't grant 3 wishes. Thank you, goodbye, motherfuckers. Like Shenron out. So I don't know. I just that is the moment in the episode where I'm like, okay, wait, something's not right here. And as I said, love Toriyama. But again, this is why a prequel is bad for him, because he's a Discovery writer.
It didn't bother me as much, but I see your point. I see the gripe. I really
do. So I mean, more shenanigans, the kids, blah 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 blah. They ask Bulma to fix Shin's ship, which apparently originated from another realm. I don't think they said he was from the demon realm. So apparently the Shins come from another realm. They're not actually born in the main realm. So, and that's fine. I think I like that. I like that there's a realm of Shins, because maybe like from the world between all the universes, because a lot of the Shins all look the same. So, well, for the most part, so I think that that's good that there's like this central realm possibly where all the Shins come from. That also explains why the Shins from the demon realm also look similar, and they might also be related. So I do like that idea. I don't know if that's already been established in lore or not, but I really do like that idea.
It was in one of the guidebooks. It's never been explicitly said on the show, but it was in one of the supplemental guidebooks.
Okay,
I believe
so
6 or 7 had a map of the cosmology of the Dragon Ball universe.
Yeah, I've seen that. But I've never like studied the cosmology, like that map. I've seen that map. It looks like a circular jar, and it has like it looks like Kami's Lookout on the bottom, but it's got the clouds from Hiffle, and so I think that's the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, so I think that's good. I think that's good to state, because obviously I didn't completely know that. So I think it's good to state that in the lore, even if especially since it's already been established in the guidebooks. I feel like that is a good thing to establish here. So I really like that idea. Plus they bring Shin's ship. Kind of reminded me a lot of the Piccolo ship going to Namek. I kind of caught that, and I'm like, okay, here we go again with the getting the old ship and fixing it up. And yeah.
At least this time, Goku won't be the cavalry. Piccolo and Vegeta get to be the cavalry that they're waiting on.
This is true. But it's going to take Bulma 10 days. So, I got worried at that point when they said 10 days. I'm like, oh, great. Are we going to have like a couple episodes where we're doing shenanigans of babies? And they automatically skip 2 days, which I'm happy about. I'm glad that they, as I said, I don't need any more lore dump at this point. We need to see the lore. We don't need to be told the lore. The first 2 episodes, I'll give it to it. They were establishing things. That we were getting the Dragon Ball babies, and and Bulma was doing her thing. So 2 days later, Goku's getting used to his new body. It kind of makes me worried though. Like Vegeta does not seem to be getting used to his new body. Like, is he more used to it already because he's short already, or because You know what I mean? Like,
maybe it's because he flew as a kid, whereas Goku didn't start flying until he was a late teen.
that is a very good point. I did not think about. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe Vegeta already knew how to fly as a kid, or he did. So maybe maybe that's why he didn't have to really train as much because he's like, I know how to fly. Thanks. That doesn't explain Piccolo though. I mean, I know he grew up really fast because he grew up in what, a 4-year period or 3-year. Well, how many years between the tournaments? Three or five?
3 back then.
So 3 years between the. So I mean, he grew up into an adult from baby Piccolo to adult Piccolo in 3 years. So you figure he would have been flying pretty relatively early, especially being the spawn of the Demon King Piccolo. But anyway, Toriyama shenanigans. That's what it is, because, which is fine. This was fun. I like the fact that we like, this is the stuff that GT didn't do. Like, GT was rushed for them to get off planet and to start on the adventures, whereas at least this one they took 2 episodes for us to start getting used to. Plus, they actually, had Goku go after his power pole. I can never say the Japanese. No, you. No, can you say it? I can't.
Nobui.
Huh?
The Nobui.
No boy. Okay. But yeah, the power pole. So, I don't know why Goku needs this, but I do like the fact that they are showing that they are significantly weaker. Like in GT, it was just kind of like,
missed the reach. He was doing a kick and he's like, I can't reach. And I bet he thought back to when he lost his first tournament to Jackie Chun.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, so I mean, so he goes to Korin. Nice to see Korin again. We did not see a baby Yajirobe, although I don't think Yajirobe really helped with. We wouldn't have seen a baby Yajirobe, would we have? He wasn't really helping.
He didn't help with Boo.
But we get the power pole. We get the trailer shot where Goku's flipping and showing off the power pole, and really Vegeta and Piccolo are not impressed. Although Goku does like bring the power pole right to his face, so kind of shows Goku's mastery of the power pole. So
yeah, that's some good control.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely just a callback to Dragon Ball. Like, this is the part where I'm like, okay, we're just calling back to Dragon Ball at this point. You know what I mean? Like, this is the stuff that doesn't, like, I'm not a nostalgia bait person. Like, you don't have to throw stuff. Like, I want a good story. The lore they're expanding on and stuff like that. Like, that's my interest in this show. Like, having all the like, oh, Goku is a kid in the power pole. Like, no, I don't. It's cool, but I don't care that much about it. Like, really, for me, as I said, if people love it, I'm happy for you. But for me, I'm like, okay, this is fantastic, but I don't care about the power pole as much.
My favorite part of the whole getting the power pole sequence was probably the fact that Muten Roshi was using it as a clothesline.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yes. Speaking of Roshi, just really quick, what do you think about all of our bearded, faceless, or our beardedless kids, like Mr. Satan and Roshi and Ox King? Like they all look so weird without their facial hair.
They look really weird. I bet you're getting vibes at that time I shaved.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the only way you could discern him was like Ox King had his, and it's really weird. I know why they put Ox King's helmet on him was because you have to be able to tell who Ox King is. Because I mean, normally he only has like the little hat with the ox horns. This time they put like the whole helmet on him.
Yeah, the old school one with the mask.
Yeah, like that was back in Dragon Ball, right? Like I don't think he had that in Z.
He never wore that in Z. No, he wore his little hat. He was all reformed.
Yep. And then Roshi with the glasses, and then and then everybody knows Mr. Satan. So yeah, I thought it was funny, but it's like, yeah, I noticed the Ox King's mask, and I'm like, or helmet, and I'm like, when did has he worn that recently? I thought he was always just wearing like the little hat with the horns on it. His domesticated crown. So, okay, so the namesake of the episode shows up finally, GLORIO, who is our Han Solo guy. He's super cool. He comes out with his hand on his holster and he's got the whole Han Solo vibe going on. I mean, I get huge Han Solo vibes from this guy. What do you think of our intro to GLORIO?
Serviceable. What you would expect. Goku gets told there's a new threat and he's eager to go fight it. You've got the cooler heads that prevail that want to, be cautious about this mysterious new figure. I think that Shin's probably right. He's probably hiding something but I don't think that it's going to be malicious.
Okay, because we already know that there is another what's her name, Pansy, the other one.
Right.
I mean, you see her in the intro, you see her in the outro. Like, it's not a spoiler at this point. Like, there is another person. I don't know if it's her sister or if it's just some other demon realm citizen. Like, but citizen. Like, how do you become a citizen of the demon realm?
Probably easier than becoming a citizen of the United States.
That's probably true. Who would want to nowadays? God. Anyway, okay. So GLORIO shows up. Tempts Goku into going. Shin is also going to go because he knows his brother's now involved. And so they jump on board the ship. They obviously Popo discerns that his ship is a different color than the other one, but they look the same. And so there's only 3 seats. So now Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma will be probably joining them later in the series. Hopefully not too long. I would like for them to. I think they said that this series probably is about 20 episodes. I don't know if that's even confirmed. I would at least hope by episode like 6 or 7 that Piccolo and Bulma would be there, but I'm guessing maybe more around halfway through the season, like episode 10.
Yeah, hopefully they don't pull a Picard season 3 and just wait till the very, very end.
Oh, I hope not. They're in the intro and outro. Like, they're all together in the intro and outro. So it's like, in my opinion, it should be like the majority of the series. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm like, episode, like give Shin and Goku and GLORIO a couple episodes to get in there, get established, have some adventures, and then like episode 6 or 7, that's when Piccolo, Vegeta, and Bulma show up. By the way, during the dub, man, Chris Sabat's gonna get like, tons of screen time. Vegeta and Piccolo. I'm surprised they didn't take Yamcha.
They didn't want to wear his voice out.
That's true. I don't think that when they were making the series they cared about Chris Sabat's voice. They're just like, eh.
I don't think the Dragon Room over at Toei even knows who Chris Sabat is.
Probably not. Okay, so I think that kind of wraps the episode up. I don't think there's much beyond that really, unless there's something I left out. Anything you're thinking of?
No, I think we hit all the high notes.
So good episode, serviceable episode. We get established the stakes of the series. They're all kids now, and there's obviously a power play for the kingship of the demon realm. We didn't really see any of the sister this week of Shin. I don't remember what her name is either. I'm so bad with these names. I need to just write them all out and like have them in front of me.
That's homework. We're gonna have to write on a whiteboard 100 times each character name until we remember.
Oh God. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's kind of it. I'm kind of looking through here just to make sure we didn't miss anything. But for the most part, I am liking this more than GT. And I know, again, I'm comparing it to GT and everyone says don't, but I do, because there are very similar plot points here, especially in the beginning. But I do think that the writing is much better than GT right off the bat. And I do think that, as I said, if this is another Toriyama like Broly, where he takes a character that was not made by him or a storyline that was not made by him and improves it, I'm okay with this. I'm not going to like be jumping out of my chair, but definitely is good. So, so what would you give this episode, would you say, out of 10?
I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 7. I think that it's very consistent. I think that it is. I think that it's very serviceable. And as I said, I'm more interested is in when the story and the shenanigans start going. You know, like we've got all the lore dump. That needs to be the end of the lore dump. They need to show us the lore now. So I think these are very serviceable episodes, and I think that because I gave last week's a 7 too, I believe. So, you know, I think that that's a good start. So, yeah. So again, as I said, everybody, thank you very much for joining us here. Major Rage, thank you very much for joining me here on this fine Saturday to talk some Dragon Ball. Remember, if you've made it to the end of this video, please go over to our community tab. I will have the poll up to vote. If you want us to do live reviews on Saturdays, as we can, like, you know, we would love to talk with the community, see what everybody else's thoughts are on the show, and just get some live interaction with people. But, you know, with that all being said, thank you very much for joining us here. Please like, share, and subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you kind of maybe sort of heard of. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.